What's going on, PGM fam? We're back with another episode today. Today we have on our show Tiffany Kelly, who is an educator, wellness coach, but most importantly, I want to highlight that she's an Amazon best-selling author and an international speaker. She comes from Brooklyn, New York, and she's also the founder and CEO of Tiffany Inspires and FitTeach. Both of those companies work with women, but also educators to help prevent burnout and build resilience. Tiffany Kelly, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. How y'all doing?
I'm well, I'm well, I'm well, I'm well. Oftentimes, well, I want to say I'm well, but also there's other things that's going on in life that is preventing me from being my 100% self on this episode tonight. But, you still have to find ways to show up and build that resilience that you need in order to keep going. So I'm doing good. Thank you so much for asking. Gandy, what's going on, man?
I'm doing well, man. It's I know you said you from Brooklyn, Tiffany. I'm actually here in Brooklyn, so of course Brooklyn stand up. For me, it's a rainy day here, but I've been very productive these last few days and looking forward to another pretty good week. But managing a lot of other things outside of what's going on today. But looking forward to having Tiffany on the show. Tiffany, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. I actually had a rainy morning here in the Metro Atlanta area. So my mom was just talking about how rainy it is there in Brooklyn. But I'm doing good otherwise, juggling, getting ready for the week. We're running around trying to do meal prep and things like that. But other than that, I went to church today, so I'm on a high from church today. Church was
Hey, come
off
on,
the chain
church.
today. You know how when you don't want to go and you gotta push your way through, but when you get there, you see why the enemy was trying to keep you from going in the first place.
Hey, that'd
That's
be
what
the
this
time you
is.
receive that
That's what
word.
today was all about,
Yes,
y'all. That's what today
yes,
was all about.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that's good. So, Tiffany, on our platform, we like to begin with the mental health check-in, right? So I know you say you're doing good. You was able to speak with your mom. You was also able to go to church, but not oftentimes do people create that platform to say, yo, how are you really doing? Like, tell us what's going on. You are in education, you're a supporting educators, but you are also an educator yourself. You're an instructional coach, a wellness coach. So talk to us a little bit more about how you're doing mentally.
Well, I've been trying to refrain from using that word tired, um, but I'm a little tired. I ain't gonna lie, y'all. Like they always say like if you see the duck on the lake is all smooth sailing. They pedaling for they like. That's how I feel right now. Sometimes like it's just like there are a lot of moving pieces when you're an educator plus being an entrepreneur. Like it's a lot. And then on top of that, in my church, I'm a women's ministry leader. And I told somebody today, I said, I'm feeling a little burnt out. I said, and if something doesn't change, I'm gonna have to give something up. And it may be this. I'm just being 100. Like I have to be 100. And I was like, and she was like, well, you didn't let us know. I was like, yeah, I've been sharing that, but have y'all been listening? But I think that, it's like, I'm a little tired. And I think it's because of, so we're getting towards I think the countdown is like 17 more days before school is over, or 18 or something like that. And
17.
I'm looking for, yeah, I think it's 17 for us.
17 plus.
Hey, you got that day circled.
It's like 17, right?
Yes.
And so I'm just like, I can't wait because it's like one less thing to worry about while I still build my business. Because with business, and I think why I feel a little tired is because I'm somewhat with my ed consulting. It's like you're building the plane, you're flying it too, and it's like, Lord.
That's real. That's so real. And you mentioned airplane, like you building the plane, you're flying it too, which leads me to my next question. Educators, there's a saying, you put on your oxygen mask before serving other people or before helping other people. So can you explain to us the importance of ensuring that our cup is full before pouring out to others?
Well, ironically, I don't know if you noticed or not, but I have a whole workshop that's called that. Did I tell you that?
Oh, you haven't. Talk to us.
I didn't? Oh, wow. So one of my most signature workshops when I ask school districts to sign me up to work with them or to contract with me, partner with me, I have a workshop called Dear Educator, put your oxygen mask on first before serving others. And that workshop has been the catalyst for a lot of things like my work. I call it my prerequisite workshop before you do any of my other ones. Have people gotten some of them out of order? Yes. But that particular one was created to touch on what I call my 6 pillars of self-care. And so it is so important that we as educators put our oxygen mask on first before serving others, because like you said, we can't serve from an empty cup. And and I take that back though, and some of us try to, but we're not serving to our highest level when we're not full. Because I mean, granted, it was for a long time. I was a superstar teacher, but I was empty. But I was burning myself out. But you would have never know because I was a superstar teacher. You know, you just do. Sometimes we as educators, we roll up our sleeves and we do what we got to do, but we don't really necessarily. We put ourselves so far last that we can't. We just show up and do what we got to do, right? But then later on, when the dust settles, we're tired, we're burnt out, and we really can't serve ourselves. We can't take care of our families. We don't want to do certain things that will bring us joy. I was talking to someone a couple of months ago, and she couldn't even tell what makes her happy, what brings her joy. That's deep, you know. But the thing that we have to do is so important that we really look at how do we serve ourselves, because in the long run, we can't really fully serve other people if we're not taking care of ourselves. We have to do that. We have to really, and we have to be more conscious of it. And I was telling some leaders at the conference last week, we have to give ourselves grace because it's not going to be perfect every day. There are going to be some times where hey, we're doing great with our self-care, and we're doing great. We'll make sure we stay filled up. And then we're going to have some moments where it's not the best day today. We didn't do what we could have done, you know, more efficiently for ourselves. But we have to give ourselves grace and get up and try it all over again the next day. And that's what has been really helping me stay a little bit more grounded and not stressing myself out that it has to be perfect every day, because it's not going to be perfect every day. You're going to have those moments where you may fall off that wagon. The key is getting back up and keep going and take care of yourself. Make some changes and evaluate what you did and how do you fix it and make it better.
Right. So how are you pouring into yourself?
So, well, let's see. This weekend, I had me an amazing massage.
Come on, massage.
I took some time for a massage. I slept late. I got up when my body was ready to get up. Today after church, I took myself to lunch.
Okay. By yourself?
By myself.
Come on.
I went to the place. I ran into some people from my church, but I took myself to lunch by myself because I feel like you have to also spend time being in your own company. So for all my people out there who want to be married and things like that, you know, like I'm married, but at the same time, you still got to take care of you and enjoy your own company before you even expect someone else to join you and be company with you.
Come on.
Okay.
Coming in hot.
So if you can't date yourself, then how you going to, you know, and if you're not comfortable being by yourself and being able to, like before I got married, I used to go out and by myself all the time. This like, you went to the lounge by yourself? Sure did. You went to the movies by yourself? Sure did. You went to dinner by myself, breakfast, you name it. Yeah, even sometimes I still travel by myself, like just for fun, just for a woosah. But how I pour back into myself is that when I feel overwhelmed, or even just in general, like this weekend I slept late. I took myself I did this massage. I do these things on Saturdays where I call it self-care Saturdays because a lot of times I get up in the morning, I may have an appointment with my chiropractor, but usually sometimes it's coupled with a massage. But then my chiropractor is about maybe 45 minutes to an hour from my house. I take the long way because I don't like the highway. But it gives me some time to put my music on, y'all, and just drive out. And don't let it be a nice day. I'm gonna put my sunroof down, you know, and I'm gonna just chill with my shades on, play my favorite playlist on my YouTube channel, and I'm gonna flow and I just enjoy it. And then I take my get back home, you know. And those are some of the ways I just unplug. Some of the other ways I do it too is I journal. I write in my journal different things. I think ideas, how I may feel for that day, something that might have happened, because you got to release it somewhere, you know. And sometimes on paper is where I do it. But yeah, that's how I usually pour back into me. And I also invest in myself. So I have a therapist. I have a personal development coach who's also my holistic medical doctor. Who I love to tap into them. Yep. And then I also have my closest friends who are my support network, who I can go to and talk to when I need to. So I'm not really feeling like I'm alone, but they're going to help me get back in alignment when I feel like I'm about to jump off the deep end, because we all have those moments too. And so those are some of the ways that I keep myself in alignment and, you know, pour back into me. And of course, my church, like, you know, being able to go to service and things like that, that also feeds me as well.
I appreciate you for sharing those, because you know, sometimes we get in the habit of saying, well, you know, I don't know what to do, or well, you know, I took the day off. Okay, so you took the day off and what? And, you know, for
Right.
some, just taking that first step to take the day off, that's good. But at some point, we have to really define what self-care looks like for us, because what it may
Hmm.
look like for you is completely different. And, you know, I want to lead into the question, to my next question, is what inspired, you know, Fit Teach, and also the movement of you just wanting to inspire others and just continue to pour out to educators, but also women as well.
Okay, so Fit Teach, I'm gonna go in reverse.
Okay.
So I'm gonna start with what inspired me to pour into women because that's where it started.
Mm,
And then so I had a weight loss journey. I used to be 260 plus pounds, and I was on medications for high blood pressure. My pressure was out of control. At about 24, 25, I think it was, I wasn't feeling too good one day. Walked into the urgent care doctor in Brooklyn, and the doctor was like, "How did you even walk in here? Do you know your pressure is 200 something over 100 something?" He said, she was like, "You are on the verge of a stroke." I said, "I am." And so that's kind of like, so basically, during those times, and I'm saying this for a reason because I think that people need to hear this. We get warnings beforehand.
mm.
So like I was warned before that. You know how you have your body goes through something, but you don't listen to your body, especially when you're younger. You're like, oh, whatever. And so I had an incident where I hyperventilated one day, but really I was battling with some anxiety, I didn't even know. And so that particular day I was not feeling my best, but I was like, let me go get myself checked after warning signs I had prior to that. And so I walked out of there with a script. Here's the other part of it. We get this medicine, but we make no changes. So I'm like, oh, okay, I got the medicine. So I'm gonna continue to eat my fried chicken. I'm gonna continue to do X, Y, and Z. I'm gonna continue to do blah, blah, blah. Ain't nobody telling me I need to work out. So I'm still just
Yeah.
chilling, working for my father owned businesses, laundromat, dry cleaners, real estate, catering hall, and I was running all of that. And no one was telling me about a pause. No one was talking about eating healthy. No one was talking about no self care. Wasn't even what is self care? Like like I need to go fix that washing machine, but that kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? But that was, so you continue on your journey and you just taking the medicine to help you maintain. And but nowadays I see more doctors talking about the preventive piece of it and how to improve your well being. But back then there was no conversation. Right now I'm 47 now, so I'm talking about 20 something years ago, right? And so what ended up happening is along the journey I just continued to get worse. And so I relocated in 2005 down here to Georgia, and I'm in a new place. I don't have a lot of friends. My church people, my church, but my cousin and like my school family were my family really. So now I'm dealing with a little bit of anxiety around just being in a new place. So I start eating again. Mind you, before I left, I was kind of working on my weight, whatever, a little bit, but nothing major. Lost a couple of pounds, but came down here in about the first year, I gained another 30 pounds. And I realized that I was an emotional eater. I ate because when I was happy, I ate when I was sad, I ate just because. And it wasn't until years later, I would say almost 3, 4 years later, maybe 3 years later, I was coming from a conference with an educator conference in St. Louis for there was a science conference on the plane with a coworker, and she was sharing about how how her mother passed away due to complications over years of taking medications for high blood pressure and things like that. And I'm sitting on the plane like, I don't want to die. Like, I'm like, I'm in my 30s. I have no kids. I don't want to die. Because and it's funny how God will use the person you least expected. Because, there were many examples, many chances, many words were said to me over the years. But it was that one plane ride that just shifted everything for me. So I got off the plane that day and I decided to sign up for the gym. I started watching my food. And then, like, down the line, I ended up getting a trainer who really helped me identify that I was an emotional eater, and she helped me look at be able to start looking at my triggers. And so I started working out. I started eating right, and the weight started coming off. So I lost over 80 pounds naturally. I ended up doing figure competitions and things like that and or whatnot. But I was so involved with her movement because at that time she was just starting her business with the fitness. And then later on down the line, I followed her because I wanted to lose this weight. So she was the person God sent for that part of that season. And so I basically, wherever she moved to for her new fitness studio, I was right there with her. And I ended up becoming a instructor under her. So people saw my picture on her wall. It was like an inspiration. And she only dealt with women. So now what ended up happening is I'm teaching her fitness classes every Wednesday for almost 2.5 years. And they would ask me questions like, well, Tiffany, how do you eat this? How do you do that? And I was low key basically coaching them because in my day job, I was a coach. So, I would ask them about their meals. And because, see, my trainer at the time, she didn't know nothing about being a big girl. She didn't know those struggles because she never been fat. So she didn't know what my struggle was, but I knew what their struggle was because I've been there with before. And
Mhm.
so it inspired me to really want to help women. And so I decided to launch a company that would really serve and help women who are on their weight loss journey. But then later on down the line, I also, people on my job watched me transform. So they were like, "What are you doing? Blah blah blah. How do we blah blah blah?" And so I ended up bringing my. At some point in my journey, my trainer became a trainer for the people at my school. Where she would come there, we would do fitness classes with them and things like that. And I was, a part of that as well, a part of the fitness classes. And so we kept this going for a while. And then down the line, we parted ways somewhere else because during the year 2014, 2014 was a rough year. So in 2014, my principal, who was like my second mother, my mentor, my most favorite supervisor ever to work for, she retires due to some health issues, but along with some things that were going on in our district. But she had already given 37 years to the district, so she decides to retire. Y'all, she had congestive heart failure and she died 8 months after retiring. Did not enjoy not one full year of her retirement because she was sick. Lack of self care. She wouldn't go home. She wouldn't turn it off. She kind of worked sick, and all the things that I talk about now in my work. About learning how to turn it off and taking care of you, and she wouldn't. And so she was sick for a long time, and she didn't tell me. And so she died. I watched her pretty much die. I was at the hospital when she passed away in November of 2014. And so about a year later, I went through my own some more trauma, losing my home in a fire and things like that. And so it was kind of like the beginning of me having some struggles after my weight loss journey. And so in 2016, I ended up being home for 30 days on medical leave. And while home on medical leave, due to me overwhelmed, burnout, stress, grieving, and things like that, I God gave me FitTeach. Because what would happen during those 2 years between the time she died and me being homesick, teachers would come in my office and they would ask me all these questions about eating well and their struggles, and they would come to meetings with unhealthy choices, and I'm having to have conversations around, guys, y'all can't keep eating this and coming to school and think you're going to perform at your optimal, because right now this Pepsi that you got right now here, or this Coke that you eating, or this donut and all this other stuff you're bringing in is not going to help you function throughout the day with these kids that we deal with every day. And so while I was home sick on medical leave, my doctor told me, you need to just go home and don't come back for 30 days. And he wrote me out for 30 days. And while I was home, God gave me FitTeach. And so, and not to mention, the majority of the women who were in my trainer's fitness class were residual clients from me referring them who were from my school district. And so it was like a no brainer almost. And so it was like, when I sat home, I was like, really, FitTeach, God? Like, is that what you really want me to do? And so I began to be able to speak things about around wellness at my job. And what really solidified it for me was when I went to this conference and this lady was presenting with something around self-care. And I'm sitting back like, dang, and I just talked about doing something. I was down whether I should do this or not. And here's this lady up here who didn't look healthy at all, but she was still doing the work. And I'm just like, So I had to go back and do how you go to a training session and you got to go back and redeliver? Well, I took what I learned from that and I took what I was already being given from all I did, and I did my very first FitTeach workshop at my school. And it was
Mm.
a hit. And that's kind of how it started. But it was also to honor my principal who died. Because if I could just help one educator change their lifestyle, then I'm doing the work that God has called me to do. And so FitTeach is to honor her, and it's to also honor all the educators out there who are really struggling and battling with their self-care, and who are continuing to put they're continuing not to prioritize themselves and put everything else before their health and well-being. And so if I could inspire some of those teachers to, hey, this is the time to make a shift, then I've done my work. And so just having both sides of it, like the women, the educators, both businesses work hand in hand. But the most joy I get is when I can get in front of educators and say, hey, here's what I want to give to you today. Here's what I have for you today. And be able to send them out of my session with tools that they can use right then and there. They don't have to even, if they didn't buy anything from me, they walked out with tools because that's what I wanted to be able to give back to them. Yeah.
I appreciate that. Your your vulnerability, and just sharing your story. Your story inspired me to reconsider what I have a drawer full of snacks, and as educators, most times we think about convenience. We don't necessarily think about healthy or any or like long term, but how important it is to take care of yourself throughout the process of helping people. I appreciate that. Again, what's your thoughts, man?
No, I receive everything that you're saying. And I know I don't come from an education background, but even in the role that I'm in, being in corporate America, it's something that a lot of folks struggle with. And one of the things that I don't want to walk past this is really the mental aspect, right? Like you touched on, you have a support network, you touched on, you have these resources and tools that you use, like getting massages and taking yourself out to lunch and making sure that you're in a good headspace. But I'm curious, and especially for our audience and the folks who are experiencing some anxiety or demands from their job, can you talk us through a little bit about that mental aspect of like, what did you do specifically to continue to pull yourself back up to make sure that you could continue to push forward?
It's funny. I don't know when you said that, what came to mind is a conversation I had with my personal development coach the other day. And that word was to choose. You got to choose. You have to decide that I'm doing this for me. That's number one, first and foremost. It's like you have to have a shift in mindset. So like, for example, when I decided to lose weight, it was and it was so funny that when I first started, it was all about helping somebody lose weight. But I had to go backtrack because, I had to really start touching on with clients, like the mental part of it. You got to shift your mindset. We've been in education, especially, we've been groomed to just work. You meet a deadline, you got to work. We're groomed to multitask, basically, in a lot of cases. And so, but you have to decide that, hey, I value my health more than anything else. And when I find myself slipping, I have to catch myself. And so, like, even like now, I have an office that has no windows and it doesn't have any like windows on the door neither. And so I have a lot of light in my room too. I keep it lit. However, there are days I go in, if it's 5 minutes, I'm about to close that door and sit in my chair for a minute and sit back. Like, you just gotta choose. And then I'm also learning that you have to say no more. Like, being able to choose you. Like, you know what? I'm not gonna be able to do that today. Can we reschedule that? Or that's not gonna fit my schedule. Can we just not do that? Or can we get someone else to do it? Or to delegate and be able to say, hey, I think you and I think Mike, I think we talked about that before too, about delegating.
Yeah. Hey,
Right?
honestly, if I could take a course on how to utilize an assistant to the best of I know how, then
Listen,
I would be on top of my game and on top of the world. Because having an assistant is great, but if you're not using them to the best of your ability, or knowing when to relinquish that power to understand how to get to where you're going
exactly.
as a
And
team.
you have to, like, from 2018. In 2018, I'm in a new school and I became the instructional coach in this school in 2018. I was the only coach in the building doing all subject areas, all grade levels, by myself. And we're talking about 600 students. So we're talking about almost, I don't know how many teachers. So let's say about almost at least 25, 30 teachers, right? And by myself, which is a huge undertaking when you talk about all content areas, math, science, social studies, blah, blah, right? But this year we did some reorganizing. They was able to hire 3 new people to give me a team. So now I'm not by myself. But even in the beginning of the year, I said, okay. I went to my principal and said, hey, I only want to coach these grade levels, this subject area. And I went first before even the school year started. Matter of fact, it was last May when I found out I want to get a team. I said, hey, so I want to do K2 math. What you think about that? Is that possible? Can we make that happen? And he was like, only K2? I said, mm-hmm. So we ended up breaking up the grade levels where like there are people on each content area, we separate them, right? So when the school year started, the very first month of school, I started training those people what they needed, the forms they need to use, all that. You know why? Because I was about to step back and stay in my lane. I was not going to micromanage folks, but that's a decision, Gandy. Like I had to decide that
Right.
I was going to trust that whatever I share and whatever I train those folks to do, that they were going to be fine. And then I said, hey, y'all, if y'all need me, let me know. Come, you can always come and ask me a question. We'll meet once a week to check in on each other. But guess what? I've given you everything you need. And if you're not sure, come back and talk to me because I'm going to be on the K2 all down here. I'm not going to micromanage anyone. And I'm not going to do your job and my job because I can't relinquish that power. I'm going to let it go and let you all do it. Now, was it easy in the first month of school? No. Because I remember this one of my teammates, I was like, if he sent another email, I said, why didn't you ask me before you sent that email? And then I was like, did he not ask me? And what kind of font is he using on our handouts? And so, but I had to come to a place. I said, you know what? I'm going to use this to my advantage. So, Mr. So-and-so, can you send that email for me, please? And that became the thing that he does. I almost never send an email now. I don't have to because he takes care of that. I don't create schedules and stuff for certain things because some people do that. I don't have to do that. I stay in my lane, do my content area, and whatever I'm supposed to do as the leader of the team, and I let it go. And this has been one of the best years ever. No stress. No stress.
I received that because I mean, Mike, how many times do we talk about this where we're like,
facts, man,
and like we're putting too much on our plate when reality is we don't have to be out here with that burden. We can delegate and reassign and really just repurpose what our why and what our intentions are day to day. Go ahead, Mike.
And before you go any further again, I think one thing that Tiffany said, is just being able to trust. Being able to trust that whenever I train you, I trust that you're going to do this job and you're going to do it well. And I trust that you're going to be an individual that's going to ask questions when help is needed. But also, I'm going to facilitate or create an environment where you feel comfortable with coming to me and asking questions. Because, like I said, sometimes it's not micromanaging, it's micro performance. And, sometimes it's a 360 approach where you have to look at everybody involved because it's easy to say, well, you're not doing your part, but also as a leader, did you do everything that was in your JD to ensure that such and such is being taken care of to the point where you don't have to micromanage his performance? So, Tiffany, I want to say thank you so much for highlighting that, but go ahead, Gandy.
Yeah, I was actually going to say, because I think we all experience this when we put too much on our plate is the idea of burnout. And especially in y'all's field as educators, it's very quick to have that feeling of, I've taken on too much. So I'm curious from your perspective, Tiffany, like you kind of mentioned, you walked through this entire process of like, all right, I redelegated. I made sure this was intact. I also made sure I've got communications going and this is what I'm going to focus on. But sometimes, which I'm assuming there are folks in the field who don't do that. So I want to know what tools, techniques, or strategies when you are meeting with these educators, are you helping them put in place so that way they don't want to walk away from the profession or feel like burnout is what they're experiencing?
So one of the tools, one of my number one tools, even like in my ed consulting, because I also have a VA there too. I hired somebody this year to help me.
Come on. We love to see it.
Because it's a lot. So one of my tools is, in terms of that, my day job, as far as education, is I operate off of my calendar. So like my team, like I've been, now whether they take the tools or not, it's up to them. But one of the things that we talk about is utilizing your calendar to help you stay on track. So like, even down to my principal, my AP, I'm like, they're like, so Miss Kelly, we need you to, but I'm like, wait, let me look at, I have my phone, let me check my calendar real quick to see if I'm,
Yep.
I know my principal, my AP, so sick of me. I'm like, wait a minute, I got so at 10 o'clock. I can't, can you reschedule me? Or can we do it later? Like, and they're like, oh, Miss Kelly, you're killing me. But one of the things I would say is that you have to at least make the calendar one of your tools. And here's one I started learning how to do is being okay with having blank spaces on your calendar. So that's the other one. Like, like yesterday, at first I felt kind of weird. I said, so I don't have to get this morning and do nothing? Okay, I can sleep in, but you got to have, your calendar is a tool that helps you keep on track to calendar certain things so that way you don't overwhelm yourself, because sometimes you put too many things on the calendar.
Mhm.
The other thing is, as far as educators, is stop saying yes to everything. Like I did a one of my videos this year on TikTok, I think it was, or somewhere. Like, you don't have to be every what they call teams, organization, like the different groups at work. If you have this person who does a lot of things with, like, the let's say PTA, or if you're doing something with the after school, like, just pick one. Can you not do all of them? And if someone wants to add you to that team because they feel like, oh, you'd be good for that, then you need to tell them respectfully, no, I'm sorry, but I need to be able to go home and do X, Y, and Z. I did that recently with my church, because you know how when it's like, how they said the blank is, what's the scripture? The something is many, but the laborers are few. That
Mm.
scripture, like, so it's like, because I'm mentally, but I thought, oh, I can help every now and again with the children's ministry, and they automatically put me in this group me with all these this conversations going on, and the other day I said, leave group. I did.
I respect it. I respect it.
And what was so funny is
Okay.
that one of my colleagues at work is also my church member. So she comes to me, she says, "Hey, Tiffany, I see where you removed yourself from the group." And she said, "Can you show me how to do that?"
Not out here starting a movement.
But you have to really, like, I'm getting better, because I'm still on my journey, y'all. Sometimes I'm good at it, but we have to be able to remove ourselves from things. And then also, and one of the things for us as educators is we have to know, one of my tools is being able to cut it off. You got to know when to cut it off. Like at work, by a certain time, like when I say, "Oh, Miss Kelly, you're staying late," I said, "No, I'm not staying late. I'm actually doing my business work, and I'm done for the day." Like, I got like a cutoff. So around 3:30 ish, after I done did all I'm supposed to do for work, usually after that, I'll sit in my office and chill for a minute, and then I'll say, "Okay, I'll do some stuff for my business for a moment," and then I'll get up and go home. But it's like but that's, in order to balance both of it, you have to know how to, like, cut it off.
Mm.
Like, and some teachers just don't know how to cut it off, and some leaders don't either, because that's what the discussion was last week at that conference. Like, where the leaders didn't. They were like, "Well, how do you turn it off?" I bring my work home. No, I don't. My cart that comes in and out that school building every day doesn't have any schoolwork in it. It doesn't.
Hey, Tiffany, I don't mean to cut you off, but I have a question. So
Mm-hmm.
when I think about our listeners, many of them, they come from many different backgrounds, and I
Mm-hmm.
don't want them to feel like this is solely tied towards educators,
Okay.
because I see how a lot of this, Gandhi works in corporate America,
Mm-hmm.
and some of the same exact stuff that
It
we
Exact
applies.
same stuff.
it'd be the
Exact
same
same
exact
stuff.
Mm-hmm.
stuff. So I wonder, how could some of the tools and techniques and strategies that you share could be applied across different disciplines and different career
Absolutely.
fields? Mhm.
Absolutely. Everything I've mentioned could go across any of those fields. Like, being able to turn it off. Like,
Mm.
really committing. So one thing I would say is, okay, if you have things you need to do, then I would say pick a day. You may pick a day or two that you want to stay late, and then the rest of them go home. And in a lot of cases, we feel like the building's gonna burn down because we didn't get it done that day. It'll still be there tomorrow. Go home.
Mhm.
Like, but it's again, like we were talking earlier. It's about choosing. Like, you gotta choose to just to go home. Like, find something that you need, like, that you're gonna do for yourself. And the other part too is an accountability partner. So, like, someone who's gonna be like, so you still there? You supposed to be leaving? I thought you were going to the gym. Like, someone who's gonna, like, really, like, I have a friend of mine. If I tell her, "Hey, I need you to remind me," oh, she gonna remind me, and she like, "So you still there? You told me you were leaving at 3:30,
Hey, that sound
and
like me.
Hey,
so
dude.
like, really having that person who's going to, so having an accountability partner is that's a tool,
Mhm.
strategy to have someone hold you accountable to what you say you're going to do. The tool, having you a calendar and being okay without having, putting everything on that calendar, having some blank spaces, and taking a moment during the day to just take and to breathe. That's for any of us, whether you're an educator or not. The
Mm.
other one is, like, really being willing to turn it off and go home and take care of you. The other part is another tool, because you gotta have some balance, is being able to, oh, this is one I want to say too. Um not eating your lunch and doing work at the same time. Being present with
Yes.
you and your meal and enjoy it. So I put my lunch in glass containers and I bring real silverware with me to work every day. And when it's time for me to eat lunch, I close my door and I have my lunch. I have my napkin and my lunch and everything. I heat it up and I enjoy my lunch. And I don't do work most of 9 times out of 10. I don't do work while I'm eating and at work because I feel like that's my time. I may listen to my audio. I may listen watch one of my ed consulting videos just to kind of just chill and just gain some new knowledge or listen to one of my audio books or something like that or some videos or whatever. But it's not going to be nothing related to work on my lunchtime. So being able to really that's you've been and then in corporate America now, most people get an hour lunch. In education, we get 30 minutes. So like you got a whole hour just to relax and do you and cut work off for a moment. Separate it for a moment and be present with your lunch. And so you can enjoy it and then you get back to work because you do that. You're supposed to get that. And so and being willing to tell people, hey, I'm having lunch right now. Can you come back in an hour?
Mm,
Ooh,
mm,
I challenge you to try that.
mm.
I, I'm having lunch right now. Be back in an hour.
I promise you, it'll work because it's the same job before lunch as it is after lunch. It'd be
There
the
it
same
is.
problems, and
There it is.
if you can't be there to solve it, they will get somebody that
Mm-hmm.
can. And life.
Absolutely. The building won't burn down. And if it do, you just gotta walk out. But it won't. But listen, I'm saying, I'm saying. And here's the other
Oh,
part. And if you
love it.
can, it hasn't working a lot for me lately. That's because I live 3 minutes from my job. But but back in the wait, sometimes, but back in the day when I worked in a different school district, I would get to work a little earlier just to have some quiet time. So I would do my gospel music in the morning. That's my worship time before I get to work to get myself together for the day. And so I really encourage that. Like if you have a commute, put something that's going to get you amped up for the day, get you happy, sing your song, whatever that is, get you in your groove. And then if you have time and you get to work in the morning, take a moment to meditate if you can, or to pray. And just if it's 5 minutes, just take that time for you. I had a rule because I had a coworker who used to love to interrupt me in the mornings when I was at my prayer time or my me time in the mornings before my day started. I said, let me tell you something. If you see me at my desk with my head down, you look through my little window in my door, do not come in my classroom. And I meant that. And so basically setting those boundaries also at work, whether it's corporate or if you're an educator, setting boundaries where you're allowing yourself to take care of you and people respecting what you're doing for you, whether it's morning, lunch, afternoon, whatever, but setting those boundaries and sticking to them.
Mm.
Don't knock on my door while I eat my lunch. And don't
That
interrupt me
part.
in the morning while I'm praying or I'm worshiping or I'm meditating or can I just sit in quiet for a moment with my lights off and you see my lights off? Why are you coming to my room? Like just being able to set the boundaries and
Mm,
you can be respectful about it. Now, if they disrespect your boundaries, then you got to handle a different way, maybe. But being able to set boundaries and stick to them because you're owed that. And then the last part I would say is finding you something to do that's going to keep you physical, moving. Find some type of movement. I don't care if it's line dancing, walking at the park, going to the gym, doing something at home, but finding some type of movement to do because it will help to relieve stress.
mm.
Mm.
I appreciate that, and I can definitely incorporate some of that into my, my work schedule, especially being a counselor. So, Tiffany, you talk about the self care aspect. You talk about being the instructional coach. You talk about being the leader. You also talk about also your business aspect of things. And I want to go back there and talk about that. At what point did you realize that you had a gift? And that give had the potential to create revenue for yourself, but not only generate revenue for your business, but also make a significant impact in the lives of others.
At what point? Hmm. I think when when I went to go work for under my old trainer, and the women who were in the classes would seek me out at the end of class and ask me questions. I was like, so I can help people and make some money too. And I was like, okay. And um, I think what happened I think right before I started my business, I was as a guy who I met here in Atlanta who is from New York. You know, he hustler. He had different businesses. He opened this pizza shop near where I lived at the time. And when my trainer and I went into this boutique next door to his pizza place, and he came out to give us a flyer because he's opening this store. And she was telling him about my weight loss journey and what she do. And so and how she helped me. And so he's like, no, I didn't talk to her. He was like, so he said, so when you're writing your first book, I said, write a book? I never thought about that before. He said, yeah, you need to write a book, blah, 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 blah. And so he planted that seed, and I decided to write this book. And so what ended up happening, I was at work one day and I saw this thing. It was this conference in I think it was San Diego, California. It was Lisa Nichols. Anybody y'all familiar with Lisa Nichols?
I'm
Like
not,
she's
no.
one of like she's
No.
a very famous motivational speaker, Lisa Nichols. And she had this conference called Right, Speak Right and Make Millions. And so I said, well, I want to write a book. And then like her emails were all speaking to all your pain points. So, you know, it's like, oh, I need to be at this. And so in 2015, I went to her conference, Speak Right to Make Millions, and a whole new world opened up for me. I met this. I met a young lady who was at that time a branding coach, and I was so hungry, y'all. I went by myself, didn't know a soul. And what happened? Lisa Nichols created this Facebook group where you could connect with people before you get to the conference. And so I decided to join the group. I was like, yeah, I need to meet this lady right here. And so this girl who still one of my friends, we met at this Lisa Nichols conference. She brought me to this party. It was gonna be a VIP party. I was not a VIP. She got me in there. I don't know how she did it, but I was in there with her. And I started talking to these people. And so I met this other girl later on who was a branding coach, and I was started becoming friends with her. And she was sharing like, yeah, well, you know, you could do blah 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 blah. I was like, I could do what? And so she kind of opened my eyes to creating a business and being a coach. And she also helped me get myself together because if y'all saw my first business cards, they were not cute. And so this person became my best friend. She's my now best friend, little sister. And so she helped me learn how to basically develop my love for wellness into a viable business. And so in her program, because I joined her program, and I actually created my beta coaching program that year. And basically women were in my program, and I actually got some results. And I was like, oh, so I can't do this, you know? And then everything else just started unfolding. And then as you grow, you keep you see several iterations of your programs, and you just continue to evolve, and it kept evolving and it kept evolving. And now here I am, 7 books later. And,
Not just selling books, Amazon bestseller. Come
yeah,
on now.
and
Come on
seven,
now.
and I'm about to, so I have seven books, y'all. Some of them are journals, some of them are the cookbook.
Is that the cookbook that's in the back?
That's actually, this is a new book right here. This is another book. This is a new one I published.
No, the one with your picture up there on the back.
So this is my actual
bring that to the front.
This is my branded box, y'all. So
okay.
That's dope.
So I had an idea one year. This is actually the cover of my book.
Okay.
My cookbook, Cooking Healthy with Tiffany. This is a box that I was playing around with branding to like ship stuff in one year, and so this is one of those boxes that I had created that year. And so cooking
How
healthy.
can people purchase that box?
The boxes that
Or
available,
that items
the items that come in it, yeah.
Yeah.
So you can go to cookingwithtiffany.net, cookingwithtiffany.net, and that will take you to everything that's Cooking with Tiffany. And so this book is not even published yet. Well, I'm not published. I'm sorry. It hasn't been officially released and out there. It's not on my website yet. But it's basically now to how to help people who want to write their own books. So it's like a journal where you get to like journal your recipes and things like that. And I'm getting ready to, in the new year, in the next 2024, launch the second edition to my very first book, which is called Lady of Power. Inspirations for the Weight Loss Journey. So it's basically helping women who are on their weight loss journey to have to stay inspired, to utilize it as a tool to help them stay true to their journey. It has scriptures, declarations. The new book is going to have it has actually, because I'm almost done. It has coaching questions, things you can ask yourself, reflection questions. The first one only had a journal page. This one I give you a journal page plus you have questions to help you get to the next level, things to think about. Or if you decide to work with a coach, you have questions you can actually go back and take to your coach and say, here's my thoughts for this week and here's what I did. And so that book is to continue to inspire people on their journey. And I think once I'm done with this one, I'll write my actual story because I haven't written my own story for it yet. But this book gives you pieces of my story though. So yeah.
I love that. You know, Tiffany, and you know, you mentioned without saying it, the power of being in the room with someone who has access and also maybe a seat at the table. I wonder what recommendations, you know, do you have for individuals who call themselves an introvert or shy or people who don't like to put themselves out there?
Mm. Well, according to our ed consultant coach, you may be an introvert, but your business is an extrovert. It is not. And so if you want to get anywhere, you are going to have to move. You're going to have to step into it. That old saying, scared money don't make money. Like you can't be scared in business. And like I had one of my good friends who helped me publish my very first book. She used to always say, "Oh, Tiffany, you gotta be scared and do it anyway." And so even for me, I'm an extrovert. If you don't know already, but there are moments where I will shrink back because I'm like, "Oh, I'm kind of scared. I don't know." And then I think, well, okay, Tiffany, if you want to get this contract, you want to make this money, you better do something. And so you have to be if you believe in your business, like you have to be willing to take the chance and connect with someone. Like you cannot, if you go to an event, you cannot leave that room without connecting with someone to tell them about your business. You can't afford it. If not, you're going to be broke. Because if you continue to do that, you're not going to get anywhere. And you have to maximize off the connection. If you're in a room, if you get in a room, then you have to maximize off the room. And then at the same time, sometimes it's okay. Like I was sharing my husband about how, I had a situation last week where I didn't feel the energy at the table where I was sitting. So the person was a superintendent at the table, but I didn't feel the energy to go over to her and talk to her because it didn't feel good. And so sometimes you also have to honor how you feel because that feeling is not there just for nothing. So I was talking to the lady on the other side of me who was a keynote speaker I didn't even know that was her for the event before the luncheon. So I connected with her and some other folks in the room. So, but you can't let that one situation keep you from still connecting. You have to make sure that someone hears about your business before you leave that room and maximize off the opportunity.
And I guess to even add on to that, first off, love what you said. But I think some folks also have that nervousness of wanting to network in the first place. And so I'm wondering, as you navigate the room or you're navigating these spaces, what tips would you give folks who, they may be a little bit more shy in terms of walking up to that person to put their business out, or even just, hey, this is who I am. I'm just trying to learn about you.
Cool. So one of the things before you even walk in that room is what you say to yourself. Self-talk is everything. Self-talk is everything. Like I would speak positive to yourself. Like, okay, Tiffany, I got this. Talk to yourself before you even walk in there. The other thing is be prepared. Know your business. Believe in your business. Knowing that, when I walk in this room, somebody needs what I have. And if I don't speak up, they won't get what I have that can help them solve their problem. Right? The other thing is be one of the things that I've learned, because I'm someone who could be very shy sometimes when I'm in rooms in the beginning because I'm like, ooh, I'm nervous, or these people may have know more than me, and I don't know if I want to connect. I'm just like not sure, or I'm a little afraid. One of the things I try to do is just kind of like just smile and say hello and speak to them. Hey, how you doing today? And just have a regular. So like not saying I'm gonna have a conversation with you to necessarily sell or to tell you all about my business, but just to strike up a regular conversation with you so that way it opens now me to be more comfortable to say, well, what do you do? And then it's oh, okay, well, I do blah, 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 and I would love to stay connected to you. And so can we exchange cards? Or in some cases, a lot of people now do, well, what's your Instagram kind of thing, and then, being able to even like inbox them later, but just being able to just to start with say, hey, how are you? How you doing today? Are you enjoying the event? You know, or like for me, it was like, so did you enjoy the conference? You know, what was your favorite, workshop you went to? And just with general conversation to get to kind of lighten up the feeling of being afraid. And that usually helps to now be able to say, so what do you do? And what brought you to the conference? Or what brought you to this event in the first place? And things of that nature. Oh, and the second part of that is maximizing off your friendship. So let's say you came with someone and whatnot. Like you may be the person who may not be afraid, but your friend may not be. And so also, allowing your friends, sometimes your friends will open doors for you. Well, let me introduce my friend so and so. And so being able to even, you know, if you have a really close friend that you came with, you say, now I'm not, this ain't my thing. Oh, I'm like, oh, don't worry, I got you, girl. So I'm like, oh, let me, my friend over here, she ain't gonna really talk about her business. Let me see what you do. And so being able to also maximize off your friendship with someone who may have come with you as well, who may be the extrovert that will open the door for you too, because that has happened to me a lot too, both ways. And so those are some of the tips that I could share in terms of that.
I love that. And even just to add, folks love to talk about themselves. So the more that you can just, to your point, as you say, hey, how you doing? Or, hey, that's a nice jacket. Like, where'd you
Right.
get it? It's simple things that eventually folks will come out of their shell and be like, oh, they think I'm fly. Like, let me talk to
Right.
this person. And then the conversation kind of rolls as smooth as you wanted to go. And then, as you said, here's my business. This is what I do and so forth. So I appreciate you sharing that.
Hey, Tiffany. So, we talked a lot about mental wellness. We also talked a lot about the business aspect of things. But, you have a lot of things and you have done a lot of things as it relates to, and I've actually had the pleasure of attending one of your events. I think it was the Connect and Chat, or maybe the Cook and Sip or something like that.
Yeah.
Talk to us a little bit more about the inspiration behind those things, as I think it relates to your overall mission and vision of FitTeach, but also the organization you have that empowers women as well.
Gotcha. So you're talking about my online cooking event.
Yeah, because I saw that you did Cook and Sip, and
Yeah,
then
that was my first in-person one, actually.
okay.
Yeah. So the cooking with Tiffany, well, it originally started with Cooking Healthy with Tiffany. So
Okay.
my cookbook came about because in 2018, I used to post food on my thing all the time. And someone asked me, how do you cook? I had a picture I posted of some black rice with some chicken and some kale. And they kept saying, black rice, what is that? And everybody was just commenting. I'm like, oh my gosh, let me just go live. People would inbox me, text me, girl, how do you make that? Where did you get that from? Where do you find black rice? I never heard of black rice. Okay, let me just do a quick live. So I did this live on Facebook in 2018, 2018 on Facebook around black rice. And I went live in my kitchen and I was just talking about, what the benefits are of black rice and why we should eat black rice and things like that. And that one episode, that video turned into a whole cooking series. Cooking Healthy with Tiffany every Wednesday at 7 p.m. for almost 3 months. It went from October to December. So that was season 1. So every week. And so now I'm like, okay, I gotta figure out what I'm gonna cook this week. And so what ended up happening is it went from 2018 and then 2019 it continued. I had different segments in 2019. But people started asking for a cookbook. And I'm like, cookbook? I'm not writing no cookbook. They were like, yeah, yes, you are. And so my coach friends, I had 2 coach friends, they were like, so when's the cookbook? I'm not writing a cookbook. Yes, you are writing a cookbook. And so I finally sit down to write this cookbook. I went back and watched every single video, y'all, because none of the stuff was really written down to write this cookbook. But in 2020, when the pandemic hit, so the book came out in September of 2020. A lady I know did have this group, and I started doing these live. She asked me to come cook live in the group, and so Cooking Healthy with Tiffany came about because of with the videos, because people started asking me to do live cooking stuff during the pandemic, and then they started paying me to do this. So people started hiring me to do oh, I have this thing. Can you come and do about cooking party with us and blah blah blah? And so I started doing these events that just developed over time, and so now it's just cooking with Tiffany, because I also do different things but sometimes may not necessarily be healthy, but I like cooking with Tiffany better. It's just simple. And so cooking with Tiffany is all about helping people find easy ways to cook yummy meals that don't take a lot of time. and having fun in the kitchen and creating your own ideas around food. And let me give you the benefits of the food, and you decide how you want to cook it. And having fun in the kitchen, and not necessarily you have to stick to my recipe, but you can take my recipe and change around and do what you want to do with it. And so what has ended up happening now is that now schools, they've seen my stuff and they've asked me about, well, can you come to my school? Can you come to my church? Can you come to my can you come to my events? Can you do private parties? Do you do this? I'm like, oh, this is interesting. And so it has evolved into what I had never expected it to happen like this. And then in February of this year, I ended up coming out with a seasoning. So now I have a seasoning that goes along with the cookbook. So it's amazing.
Cool, cool, cool. I love that. I love that. Because when I originally joined, I was the only male in the room, but I enjoy being in the room with a lot of
Thank you
women
for
who.
bringing your energy.
But yeah, so I love stuff like that. Are you currently doing that still? And if so, how can people get plugged into that?
So I am working on. So I've been so busy, like for real. So I was gonna do a whole cooking cohort, but I was
Uh-huh.
away. Then I had a big event here in Atlanta. It just never happened. So I'm working on doing a actual cooking class. It's going to be a private cooking class. It's not going to be on Facebook. It's a fee for it now. It's on virtual. It's virtual, and it's going to be May 31st. And so that's going to be an event that I need to start pushing this week actually if I want to get some people to come. But it's on May 31st, and it's basically a cooking event around healthy eating. We're gonna do a recipe, of course. And when people join it, they're gonna get some tools when you join the event. The event is $47 right now, and when you join, you're gonna get all these extra goodies that come with it, and you get to come on. And I highly advise people to be in their kitchen cooking with me. You paid your money. Don't just come and be a spectator, but come and actually cook along with me. Because when you do it, you learn when you actually do go through the process with me. If you choose not to, that's okay too. But it's just a little bit more beneficial to you when you actually cook along with me. And then my goal is to do one every quarter, so that way people have a chance to plug in with me every quarter.
You share that information with us because on our page, we do have like a resources page where we offer like different wellness resources, legal, and from just the different guests we have had on our show. So if you don't mind, share
Okay,
that with us and we can put that on our website and also
sure.
promote it on social media with you as well.
cool. I'll do that.
And
Absolutely.
even as a follow-up real quick, because we're on the topic, but for folks who want to tap in once you start putting the content out, where can they see that?
If you're on Facebook, you can see it on my Facebook page, Cooking with Tiffany. And then if you're also on Instagram, it's going to be on my Instagram page. I'm rebuilding my Cooking with Tiffany Instagram. And that Instagram is, let me see, that's going to be, let me get together. I don't know the handle right now.
And
So
it will also be located
change my
in the
handle.
description
Yes.
on
Yeah.
the post
Yes.
as well.
Yeah. So my Instagram is cook_with Tiffany. Because I recently changed it. So it's cook_with Tiffany. It'll be on that Instagram page.
Okay.
Awesome.
Cool.
Awesome. Well, I know we touched on a lot, Tiffany. And of course you have a lot going on, but one of the things that I know our audience and even we're very interested in is, with all your businesses and everything that you have going on overall, what messages, what tools, what resources do you want to convey within your work so that people can continue to move along their journey?
Well, one of the messages is you have to be organized. And one of the things that I had, like, how do you do that and still work your day job? And so, like, I've had several events these past couple of weeks, past couple of months, that the old me would probably had me really burnt out, really like tapped out for real. But what I have done over the last couple years or two is to really organize myself. So, like, when you have something to do, don't procrastinate and wait till the last minute. Don't, because procrastination is one of the ways you can burn out. Because you wait till the last minute now, you're stressed out trying to get it all done in a short period of time when you could have spread it out over a couple of weeks or months, so that way you get it done. And that's one thing that has been really helpful to me, is that when I know I have something coming, I plan it out and I do a little bit each day or designate certain days of the week to get it done, so that way I don't overwhelm myself. The other tool, once again, I can't stress enough, is going to be your calendar. Like the calendar, like I can't live without my calendar. Like you have to calendar your things, the things that you're gonna do, and set that time and stick to it. Um, one of the other things I would say is finding time to rest, unplug. So like if you have a busy schedule, look at, okay, can I get away for a weekend? How do I unplug for a weekend? Those are things that have helped me a lot because I am very busy. But one of the things that helped me is that I find time to unplug. I don't care if sometimes it's me laying in my bed until it's late, but I also leave town. Or even being able to find you a hotel room and check in and take that time for yourself. Um, because once again, like if you don't put the oxygen mask on yourself first and take care of you, then the other thing that you desire to do, you won't be able to do. And I'm also, one of the things I want to share that's helping me too is that I am beginning to release things that do not bring me joy. Like stuff that does not bring me joy, I am releasing it. People as well. So like people who continue to stress me out or have caught, I'm gonna have to back up from you. And keep you at a distance. Even down to I have a godchild right now. There were some things that happened a couple of months ago, to be real transparent, that really hurt me. And so now she tries to plug back in. I have a boundary line now. Here's where so far I'm gonna go. And be okay with that, because sometimes we beat ourselves up thinking that we, I feel bad because I did. No. It's called taking care of you. And so part of my brand is called I Choose Me. I Choose Me is I set up for I really choose me. Like, no, I cannot do this at this time. And the other part I want to say is using your tool of grace, giving yourself grace. Giving yourself grace, being able to say, you know what, today might not have been my best day, but guess what? Tomorrow, I always say on my videos, it's a new day. It's a new day. It's a new day. Start again. And the other thing is expressing gratitude. Being able to express gratitude. Lord, I thank you for being able to step on the floor and get up this morning and stand up. I think of being able to comb my hair, brush my teeth, the little things that we take for granted every single day. I am grateful for that. I'm grateful for my job. I know it maybe sometimes gets on my nerves, but I'm grateful for my job because I'm able to pay my bills, and I'm grateful for that. And so, and also being able to say, God, I trust you. That even though this may not be what I thought it was supposed to be, but I trust that you wouldn't bring me this far and leave me hanging. And I trust you that you're going to get me out of this too. And that better days are coming, and that it's only a test, and that I'm going to have a testimony in the end. And so, like, that's what I live by right now. It's helping me really, because all of us got challenges. I woke up this morning with one, but guess what? I knew that it's only for a little while, and so that's how I look at it. And if I could just continue to think of it that way, and that I always look at future. One of my top 5 strengths is futuristic. I'm looking future. Okay, well, this ain't gonna be forever. It's only for a season. So
That part.
Come on.
and if I keep, it's only for. I always say I'm gonna look back 3 years from now, I'm like, oh, I remember when. But these are things that we go through. These challenges and things we have. Like, you're gonna have challenges, listener. You're gonna have them. It's just part of life. But it's how you. I'm learning more and more now. It's how you react to the challenges that's gonna get you through. And so, if you go with a mindset of being grateful, if you give yourself grace, and you don't let nobody steal your joy, that's half the battle right there.
Mm-hmm. I received that. And, before we wrap it up, one question I would like to ask, one, because we have a lot of listeners who listen to us who may want to reach out to you, right? Reach out to you in a means to not only just connect, but also utilize your services. And in a few sentences, I wonder if you can just describe to us, how do you help clients define their why? And the reason why this question is important, because sometimes it's easy to just say, you know what, I'm okay, I'm good. Let me stick here at this 9 to 5. I'm okay. I don't need to step out on faith and open up that business or lose weight or whatever the case may be. But how do you help clients define their why, even when it feels uncomfortable?
So most of the people who come to me are people who are wanting to start their wellness journey, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so my first question to them when they start with me, because they're gonna have to, first of all, you're gonna journal with me. That's
Mm-hmm.
just part of what I do in my business. My first question to them that they have to ponder on is, what would a healthy and fit life bring you?
Mm.
What would a healthy and fit life bring you? Because in that, when you unpack it, you discover what your why is. So for me, it was the ability to wake up in the morning and not pop any pills anymore. A healthy and fit life for me meaning that I could be able to sit on a plane comfortably and not have to worry about me being overweight, leaning on the person sitting next to me. Okay. And feeling like I'm stuck in the chair because I had that
Mm-hmm.
experience. I said, Lord, help me. I'm in the middle seat. Lord, help me. But those are things that I felt. Being able to not have my back hurt, my knees hurt, and having to worry about being on medication for the rest of my life and dying because I didn't do anything.
Mm.
But a healthy and fit life would bring me a new life. Being able to be mobile more, being able to enjoy my family and my friends, being able to, to have more confidence, being able to be an inspiration to others. So like, and not be on medication for the rest of my life. So I usually ask that question: what would a healthy and fit life bring you? And then the other piece to that, like if you're in business, it's like, okay, well, you're in business and you're trying to decide, right? So I have this thing about, I'm really big on assignment. So everybody has an assignment on this earth. And so when you don't walk into your assignment, you are preventing the people who are assigned to you to do what they need to do for their assignment.
Mm.
So it's all connected. So when you don't walk into your purpose and you don't do what you've been called to and really discover why you are here and what you're supposed to do, then you're not allowing God to use you in the way He creates you to be in the first, what He creates you for in the first place. And the people who need you, who are assigned to you, they can't get what they need because you're still trying to figure it out.
Well. Mm.
So that's what keeps me
Mm.
going. That's my why right now. Like, okay, Tiffany, if you stop, then you mess up the chain right now because now you're preventing folks who need the help from you. What you have that only you can give. Ooh, thank you, Lord. Don't get me started.
Hey, let him use you. Let him
Let
use
Him
you.
use you.
Yes,
Because
yes, I
that
love
means
that.
like if I don't do my job, that means somebody else is missing out on their assignment because they need what I have, what you have to get to the next level. But if we don't step out there and do it, then we're preventing them from getting to the next level too.
Mm.
Now we all stuck like Chuck.
Mm.
We ain't moving.
Mm.
Like,
Wow.
yeah.
Wow. So that's real. That's so real. And I appreciate you sharing that. My Gandhi and myself, we oftentimes we talk about that, understanding the season that you're in, understanding the assignment that you're on, understanding when that assignment has expired, understanding when it's time to move forward. Even if
Mm-hmm.
you're scared, have
Yep.
faith. And it's easy said than done having faith, right? So,
Tell it.
you talk about a lot of great things, and I know our listeners will love to stay in contact with you. Do you mind sharing your social media handles and also any email address or anything, which will be located in the description whenever we post?
Absolutely. So I'm gonna share Tiffany Inspires, that social media, because that's my main one before even FitTeach. So
Hmm.
Tiffany Inspires is my other brand, which is my main brand, really. And so my Instagram is Tiffany D underscore Inspires. And on Facebook it's just Tiffany Inspires.
Okay.
And you can follow me there. And that will connect to all my other stuff. But those are that one in particular. And the same thing, Tiffany Inspires is my website, tiffanyinspires.com. That's where you can connect with me. As far as my email is tiffany.kellyconsults@gmail.com. I'm sorry, tiffany.kellyconsults@gmail.com. That's my main email where you can reach out to me. And that way, and if you email me, I will respond back. I will.
Cool. Thank you. So, Tiffany, again, thank you so much for being part of our family today. Not often do we hear some of the things that you have shared, but also the transparency that you have and the vulnerability that you have expressed today on our show. We really and genuinely appreciate you and your story. But one thing that you said today that really stuck with me, and I know it will stick with a lot of the people that will listen to this episode, is I am releasing what doesn't bring me joy. And I feel like that particular thing, it kind of helps you to understand that calling because you'll know what season you're in. If you're really in tune with yourself, if you're really in tune, meditating, praying, and spending time with in the Bible, and also you just like just mentoring, if you are doing what you are supposed to do, you will know what is bringing you joy and what is sucking the joy, living joy out of you. And so I just want to say thank you so much for being a part of our show today. But most importantly, the message that you share, I received. I know Gandy did receive it as
Oh,
well.
definitely.
And as we always say on our platform, it's the power of a growth mindset, but it all starts with you.